Welcome to An Aries and Pisces Walk Into a Coffee Shop, the podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Bridget, she, her.
And I'm Tiffany, she, her. This is a podcast where two friends let go of perfectionism and talk unedited.
I think it's fine. You don't sound like you're echoing to me.
Okay, I'll just try to ignore my own voice whispering to me from the dark recesses of a cave. It's not even Mercury retrograde.
I know. I was just thinking that as I was plugging my headphones in, and I'm also hearing myself echo in my headphones. And I was like, Mercury retrograde's well over.
Yeah.
So this should be fine.
It should be.
I think we're having more troubles today than we have been. Oh my God.
We are. Yeah, we are. I've been blaming the weather for a lot of things, but I can't even do that in this instance because it doesn't really.
It could maybe wherever these servers are held, if it's really cold and that is fucking things up. I did
have a friend that said that the work that they do was interrupted over the weekend because it was so cold the internet was melting.
Melting?
Yeah, apparently it was so cold that the equipment that was to keep the equipment that keeps the internet going cool was failing, so everything was getting too hot. So it was so cold that the internet was melting, and I like that dichotomy.
That's crazy. Was this going back to our last conversation when just like the mood of 2024 is feral? That's what you said. That's what you said. I'm getting distracted by the voice of myself in my head.
Oh, I mean, you're not the voice in my head today. Apparently I am. And it's a little extra trippy because there's a slight lag. So when I laugh, then I laugh.
Should we just give up?
Maybe we should have a blooper reel and we can save this for the bloopers.
It's going to be just an entire episode of bloopers.
Yeah. Yeah, the blooper episode.
Well, I will say this whole time, the chickadees are just coming back and forth. I think there's two of them. One will come and then the other will come. And they come in so fast and they leave so fast.
That's so precious.
So cute and small.
Oh. And just like surviving these temperatures, nature's amazing.
Absolutely. Like the birds yesterday completely popping off. Like just so many birds, and birds that I don't usually get just like hanging out here.
Yeah, you got white-crowned sparrows, right?
Yeah, white-crowned sparrow. I had only ever seen one in our backyard, and then there were a whole bunch of them. They're back today too. So a bunch of them. And then I finally saw somebody have a drink at the heated bird bath. So there was a lady cardinal there, and that was exciting. And then she came to my window feeder, and I was like losing my mind. That was exciting. The dark-eyed juncos, of course, popping around in the snow, and the chickadees. And then this morning, a male cardinal came to my window feeder, and yeah, they were just having a ball. And I went out yesterday to refill everything because I wanted to make sure that they had seed. I don't know if it's because it's like so cold and everything, and the winter was really bad yesterday. The weather was really bad yesterday with snow and stuff. So but it has been delightful, and Chloe really likes it. I think she likes it. Like I never really thought that she was interested in the birds at all, because she only like occasionally would look out the window and make a little chirp at them and like watch them when we only had like our hanging feeder.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I have a feeder on the deck railing, and then I have this feeder here, which drops seed right in front of the back door. So they come up all over the deck now.
Right.
And she'll be back there like pressed up against the glass. She's chirping. We have a box on the floor, and she'll like get in the box, but only have her eyes peeking over the
Hunter
edge.
cat.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's the hunt box. And she's just chirping and yelling at them and whining at them and making all sorts of sounds. And she's jumping at the glass. Like I'll just hear like a thunk, and I'll be like, I guess she's trying again.
Aww.
But I think that it feels like a really nice like enrichment activity.
That's the
And
word that I was thinking of as you were telling me.
yeah, and I think that that's something that during the winter has historically been really hard.
Right.
Especially for her. And so I think that this is like a really nice thing.
I agree. That sounds really lovely.
And it's nice for me too. I'm enjoying
enrichment.
It. Yeah. Enrichment all around.
Do you still go on your walks?
Oh my God. I went on a walk a couple days ago. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because I hadn't gone on a walk in a week because of my procedure and everything last week.
Mm-hmm.
And then the weather getting really cold. And I was like, I needed to go on a walk. And so I bundled up. I got so fucking bundled. And I went, and surprisingly, it wasn't that bad. Like even though the weather here has been in the single digits or in the teens and the wind chill is 0 or below, it has been sunny, which has been helpful.
Right.
And so the walk wasn't that bad. But good. I have yet to get myself back out there because I just like can't.
I've gone on frigid walks before, and yeah, if you layer and bundle appropriately, it's more than fine, typically. It's the motivation to get out there that really kills me. And this weather destroyed my sinuses. Like as soon as it shifted, I've been miserable. I'm actually like recovering now, but I still feel really cruddy. And I had to go outside for, groceries, and I wanted to be a good friend and celebrate my friend's birthday. They don't live that far from me, and they were just hosting something at their place. So I was like, okay, like I'll bundle up and like go do that, because I know how much it sucks to have I have friends that have winter birthdays, and it just sucks because the weather makes it so that no one wants to celebrate, no one wants to go out. So I was just like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna show up for the winter birthday.
You're a good friend.
Well, especially because like having a March birthday, it's like hit or miss how the weather's gonna be. So sometimes it's like freezing rain, and I know how like bummed I get about that. But typically people would show up for my birthday because even if it was like, snow flurries, it was still springy snow flurries, so it wasn't typically that bad. But I have street parking, so then I would get home and then I'd have to park like 4 minutes away from my place to walk home. And so I like ended up doing frigid walks that I did not plan on because I needed food and or human company. But other than that, have not even thought about bundling up to go outside. I had like this vague wish to be outside for like a second, but then like never got to well, you could just put on, your clothes.
I will say though, that's a lot of work to put all of that on. It's a lot of work. And I don't necessarily have the best equipment So like I had
Mm-hmm.
on, right, like a regular pair of socks, and then I bought the Mylar emergency blankets.
Yeah,
You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Oh my God, my background
Whoa.
is having fireworks. What? What is happening today? What is happening? I swear to God, I don't know.
What did you even say to what?
I don't know. Was it my hands? Did I do a hand movement? I'm afraid to move
Maybe.
my hands now.
Well, that's going to be really hard because we both communicate a lot with our hands. So,
Oh my God. Okay. Um, all right. Well, so I got the emergency blanket, and it is like almost like a kind of, if you hold it up in a certain light, you can kind of see through it. It's kind of like see through like tinfoil,
sure.
but like a huge thing of it. And what I was gonna do was make these like DIY shoe insoles with that and wool to see if that helps to be like a warmer
Right.
like barrier in my shoes. And so I had just gotten them. So what I thought that I would do was just that, like, I don't know, did you ever do this when you were little? Put your feet in like a plastic grocery bag and then put them in your snow boots?
Yeah, that was a very, I think, 80s, early 90s solution to not having waterproof shoes.
So that's what I decided to do with this
Mm-hmm.
blanket. I like cut two pieces out of it, and I wrapped it around my foot, and then I put my winter socks on over
Mm-hmm.
top of that. And then I had on my like leggings, and then I have these snow pants. And so you can imagine how terrified Zero was, because
Yes.
this blanket is very crinkly.
Mm-hmm.
And now my feet are just crinkly every time I move my feet. And then also the snow pants are that material that rubs together. It's very loud.
Yeah.
And so I was just a walking terror. And I was like, this sounds absolutely ridiculous. But I put all the rest of the stuff on. I've got my like face mask thing, my earmuffs, my hat, my coat, these gigantic gloves. And when I was outside walking, I couldn't really hear my feet. So that
Okay.
didn't, because I was kind of self-conscious about that. But then also,
Understandably.
like, nobody else is outside anyway. And all I could hear was like the swishing of my pants. So it was
Mm-hmm.
fine. And my feet were mostly okay for most of the walk. And I was
Good.
just wearing tennis shoes. I wasn't wearing
Okay.
boots.
Mm-hmm.
So, uh, yeah, it was an interesting experiment. But that was a lot. Then I get home and you have to take all of that off.
Yep.
And uh yeah, so basically I've really been missing my walks and trying to figure out what to do. I'm missing them to the point, Tiffany, that I very much considered yesterday going to the mall to be a mall walker. I was going to put my tennis shoes on and go walk the mall. And I was like, I can't do it.
This is getting bleak.
Because too, like when I walk, I want to be outside.
That's kind of the point. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, walking is good for you in general. Like even like if you're doing it at a mall, that is still good for you. But I think for you and I, it's the nature aspect that really gets us good,
Yeah,
not
and
necessarily the actual walk itself.
it, yeah, because then I was also thinking about the mall. It's just going to be a bunch of people
Mm-hmm.
around, and I prefer to just like my walk is that's my grounding, that's my nervous system regulation, that's my right. Like I get to
Yeah.
concentrate on like my bilateral movement, right? And like process through my thoughts. And then I'm like, am I going to really get that experience if I am inside this big thing with a bunch of people?
Yeah.
I don't know that it would.
I
I don't
think I
know.
would have a hard time with that. I mean, it's easier when you're outside and if there's a lot of people, I found. because like now that I live in the city, like my walks, there's always people around. And like even when I go to the park, there's always lots of other people also being at the park. But there's nature and everyone's like doing their thing and, you know, enjoying each other. And I find that it's just as lovely and sometimes even more so, because there's been a couple of times where I've gone to that park. Obviously, I'm talking about warmer weather, but people would be like hanging out there and like having a picnic, or there's like dog training classes. So people would be there with their dogs.
Oh my God.
A couple of times I saw high school students like practicing plays or instruments like in that park.
Wow.
And so it's like sweet. Like it's
Yeah.
people being really cute.
Oh, I love that.
Or there was that one really impressive full moon, and like I went to go look at the moon, and a lot of other people did too. So there's all these little groups like late at night in the park, just all like looking up at the moon, and it was just really cute. I was like, oh, humans are neat.
Oh, I love that so much. I could
Me
do,
too.
yeah, I could do with some of that.
But then like the mall doesn't have those vibes.
No. Yeah, it doesn't. So I am trying to figure out what I'm gonna do.
I
Because
mean,
I know that I'm gonna want to go for a walk this afternoon,
yeah,
and
you're
it
just
is
gonna have to bundle
sunny.
up,
Yeah, I guess I'm just gonna have to bundle.
and it's hard.
Yeah. But do you know what I did yesterday though? I was proud of myself.
Tell me.
Um, so it was yesterday, late afternoon. I would
Mm-hmm.
typically go for a walk, like after my work day. And I couldn't. Like I just couldn't like get myself out there and to do the thing. I just couldn't be fucked. And so then my next thought was like, all right, we're going to lay on the couch.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew that if I did that, especially like with like how I was feeling, like I wasn't going to go lay on the couch and read a book because I was just like done. I was going to be like scrolling on my phone. And I was like, that is not what we need right now. And I was like, Bridget, what would you be doing at this time if you had everything going your way? I would be going for a walk. And I was like, okay, what are my goals right now? I have like a goal around my health, and it's to do more movement. And you and I are doing the 30-day yoga thing with Adrian. And so I thought, okay, well, I guess I'm going to do my yoga right now because I'm committed to this health goal for myself. I want to move more. And this is a very easy, thing that I can like pick up and
It's accessible.
do. Yeah. And so I was like, bitch, just go upstairs and do it.
I love that you talk to you the way I talk to me.
Well, it was like, like don't throw out any excuses. Don't,
Oh, it's a
because
term of endearment.
yeah. But yeah, I gotta like really or like get in there to myself and be like, you would be walking right now. You would be doing your movement. You're not able to do that. So do this other one, even though I like really didn't want to.
Yeah.
It takes a lot for me to like do yoga on my own here at home a lot of the times. And I like yoga with Adrian. I don't love all of her stuff, and I don't love doing the same thing like day after day after day.
Yeah, and especially with the 30 days, she tends to do that because she's like
You're building
building a
on.
beginner,
Yeah.
practice.
And so I'm like, if I have to do another motherfucking plank and a lunge, I just can't. But I was like, you know what? Here's what I'll do. I will put the video on. I set my laptop up. I put my yoga mat out, and I will do whatever I want to do. I'll start doing what she's doing, and if I fucking hate it, I'll do some other stretches, and then at least I'll have done my movement, right?
Yeah.
And then it turned out the class that we did yesterday was not the same stuff.
Nope. Very different.
And it had that really sweet moment in it where she was rubbing Benji's little feet and didn't say a word about it. And I was like, that was just so sweet. So sweet. And so I was very proud of myself because I very easily and in the past would have just gone and laid on the couch and scrolled through my phone and then ended up feeling worse.
Right.
For multiple reasons. And I got myself to do the thing. And what I have appreciated about this series of videos is that she keeps saying at the beginning of it that you've already done the hardest thing. Just showing up, like just getting here on the mat. And I keep holding on to that. Because that is the hardest thing.
Like I said earlier, it's the motivation piece, like to get to the, and I mean, I was talking about, all the hurdles we have to do to prepare to be outside for the winter, but it's everything. Like just that forward momentum towards something is really, I mean, everything for me, historically hard. I have a hard time with transitions. If I'm doing one thing, the idea of doing something else, no matter how badly I want it, is so hard for me to get to. Thus the bitch, roll off the couch, go wash your hair, like get your yoga mat out, you'll feel better.
Yeah, that is so hard. And I get tripped up in my mind too, because I know the thing of like, I know I'll feel better when I do this thing. Like, I know that this is right. This is my self-care. I have the data. I've got the proven data.
There's no convincing that needs to be done. We've done that hard bit.
Right. But like, even then, it's still so hard to get going. But then why is it not that hard to get going for some other things, right?
Give me an example and then I'll tell you probably how I made it hard. Go.
Well, I'll give you I guess my easiest example is my journaling in the morning.
Yep, I've made that hard for me as well.
But I know that like I think about this because I'm like, what about that makes it, I'm not questioning it anymore. I'm not dragging my feet on it. It's just, I just do it automatically. Like I brush my teeth in the morning or I brush my teeth at night. Like those aren't things that I like fight myself about. It's just like, I know I need to brush my teeth, so I do it. I know I'm journaling in the morning, so I do it. But if you would ask me to start a journaling practice at a different time in the day, you got me.
Yeah. Well, I guess that is the answer, isn't it? You're like, well, why are some other things easy? Because you found a way to make it easy and then you practiced it a lot because you didn't always journal first thing in the morning.
I didn't at all. I didn't journal.
Well, yeah, you didn't journal at all. Right.
And that was really hard for me.
Right. So it was hard at some point.
Yeah.
And so it just sounds like yoga at home, you haven't found the way that works for you. Now, for me, journaling was always easy because it felt like a compulsion. It felt like well, of course I will drop everything and do this. And then somewhere along the line, it got harder and harder and harder. And it still is hard sometimes, but my mom bought me that really cool pen for Christmas.
You didn't tell me about this.
I didn't?
No.
Oh, okay. So I was really struggling for the back end of last year to journal because just everything was so heavy and I was so sick of me. And I felt like I was saying the same things and I was just like, this isn't. And then I kept on trying to try different ways of journaling and different things to journal. And it just wasn't giving me the payoff that it used to. And I was feeling really disillusioned with it and really struggling. And that feels very scary to me because journaling for most of my life has been the only thing that has felt easy and like, of course, this is how I'll process everything. And it's just been a lot harder, especially this past year. Not that it's totally unfamiliar. I go through phases where, just life makes it harder to do that. Anyway, for Christmas, my mom bought me this really beautiful fancy pen that I've had my eye on for at least 3 years. And around holiday times, like my family will share like online lists that we have shared, like little wish lists, so people get an idea of like what we're looking at or what we need. And I kind of had forgotten I saved that pen on that list because it's expensive enough that I don't think I ever would have bought it for myself. Because it's just like, I don't need it. I already have 2 other fountain pens that I've bought myself. They work great. Like, I love them. But they're like the beginner fountain pen. They're made out of plastic. They're great, but they're like not super exciting. And this pen that I had saved is this beautiful metal patina. So it's like really gorgeous. Each pen looks slightly different because it has a natural patina on it. And it's a fine nibbed pen. And I've been wanting one because modern paper is usually pretty thin. And my other fountain pens are medium. And so they often would bleed through the paper. So I'd have to be really mindful of what journals I was buying that had thick enough paper to withstand that flow of ink. And my mom bought me this fine nibbed metal fountain pen that I've had my eye on for 3 years. And it was such a shock because like my mom is a thoughtful gift giver, but there's certain things that I wouldn't expect her to understand why they're important to me and like go out and make sure I had that thing. She knows that I write and that I journal, but she's not a writer or journaler. I don't think she understands herself the tactile nature of having a weighty like pen that makes a beautiful scratching noise when you're using it, and just like the whole sensory thing of it. And she bought it for me and I opened it and immediately started tearing up, and she's like, well, you've had it on your list for a really long time. And I was just like, yeah, but like it's so expensive for just like a pen. And like I was just over the moon, and guess who hasn't had any issues with journaling since?
Wow.
I've been journaling multiple times a day because I can't wait to use my new fancy pen. Like I'm just so excited about this pen. And it's not even just the pen itself, but it's like the whole, oh, I didn't think I was ever going to have this. And then my mom of all people made sure that I got it because she recognized like, oh, this has been here for a while. Like this is important. I want her to have that. I just felt really seen and like taken care of in an unexpected, like my mom takes care of me in a lot of ways, but in that, I don't know. It really, it was just unexpected and sweet. And so it's like weird hacks like that, where it's just like, I always tell people you don't need anything fancy. You don't need anything specific for a practice, especially like with witchcraft. Like people get really in their heads about, I need the best of this, or I need a fancy whatever. I need to have these kind of tools. And I'm like, no, you don't. You don't need anything. But every once in a while, it does help me. I don't know if it's the magpie brain or what, but I'm like, ooh, shiny.
Yeah, I totally get that. Also, like, please, will you please send me a picture and a video of this pen?
Okay.
I can't wait. Do you refill them?
Yeah, so the brand that I really like is I don't know how to pronounce it actually. I've only ever seen it written, but it looks like Coweco. It's a German brand, and that was like my first fountain pen that I bought was from them. because they have these neat little cartridges that are just like no fuss, no mess.
Okay.
And you just plug them right in, and they come in a million different colors. Well, okay, not a
Wow.
million, but like way more than other like ink cartridge ones I've seen. Like if you get the pots of ink where you're like refilling a cartridge, there's usually a lot of color options in that. But when they're actual like prepackaged cartridges, I've only ever seen them in like, you know, your base colors. But this brand has a bunch of fun colors like aqua and purple, a couple of different reds. But on top of that, they've been around for like a really long time, and all their pens use the same cartridges.
Oh,
So I like that. Oh, they're probably not going to go out of business anytime soon because they've been around forever and they're still
yeah.
going strong. And no matter what pen I have from them, the cartridges fit into all of them.
That is lovely. A few years ago, I was looking at pens and I was definitely intimidated by the refilling aspect of it. I also
Same.
don't know how I feel about writing with a fountain pen because I love a ballpoint and I write really heavy. Like I push hard. And so I don't know, but that's very inspiring to me. I'm also remembering that I used to have a set of colored pens that were like very bright colors, like a very bright like pink and a blue and maybe like a green and a purple. And that does bring like a new level of joy to it that I forgot about. So I'm
I had
tossing that
forgotten
around.
about the colors too because I got really I was going to say stuck and then I wanted to change it, but I guess I should say stuck. Got stuck on like black ink all the time. And what reminded me of the joy of colors is this pen came with its own cartridge, but in a royal blue. And I even had the thought of like, oh, I don't know if I want to use that. But I didn't have my cartridges with me, and I had this new pen, and I was just like, well, I'm just going to plug it in and use this royal blue. And then I was like, oh, right. I used to like writing in colors. So I've been thinking about ordering some of the other, because like when I first got the pen, the Kaweco, like the initial one, I had the thought of like, oh, look at all these fun colors. I should get those. And then I just like never did it because I got stuck on black.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, oh, I forgot how much I enjoyed that. And I think I'm going to go back to it because I think that there's like novelty. That's what it is. There's like a novelty aspect, I think, to like, oh, and now it's a different color now that I had forgotten about that I miss.
This is so this is making me think then, like how you were talking about, you don't need specific things to do the practices and do the things. But that is something that I have talked about in therapy before, that there's something about that, like having that thing to look forward to. This probably has something to do with like dopamine levels and like interest and novelty and what's going to get you like excited to do it. And I'm thinking about that with my yoga practice here at home. And like for a good long while, excuse me, what are you laughing at? Did I miss something?
No, you didn't miss anything. You just reminded me that not last year, it was earlier than a couple of years ago, I had a similar thing with yoga where I really was having a hard time doing yoga. And then I bought myself this mat that I had my eye on, and I had talked about it with you. It's that microfiber mat with that beautiful print on it. And still to this day, when I think, bitch, get off the couch and do yoga, I go, you get to use your mat. And that's usually what gets me like excited to bust out the mat, because it's like, you bought it, roll it out and look at it. It's pretty. And it usually does work.
This is making a lot of sense to me, because I'm thinking about when I was doing yoga at home,
Mm-hmm.
and like especially when the aerial studio shut down,
Yeah.
and I got my own rig at home. And so yeah, that was super novel to all of a sudden like have this in my house, and I did great for a while.
Yeah.
And I had even like at one point when I bought the mat that I had, like that was a very intentional thing that I, like saved up
Mm-hmm.
for and like really went consciously into making that purchase.
Yep.
And so that was exciting. But then I, those things are like years. It's been years.
Right.
And I'm wondering also too that maybe it's like the videos that I'm doing, right? I'm not loving the videos. So if I'm not excited to do these videos, or if I'm not excited to, because I find that it's hard for me to lead my own practice. Like
Sure.
when I need that, like connection with my body, the nervous system regulation, the whatever that is, it's easier for me to go into a class
Mm-hmm.
when somebody else is instructing. So
Sure.
like I don't have to figure out what we're doing. I just have
Mm-hmm.
to like follow along, and then I can connect with my body. I can do my own thing. But when it's just me here in this room, I'm the instructor, right? I'm the participant. I'm dealing with everything that goes on in this room and
Mm-hmm.
all of those things at once, and that's a lot to do and to deal with. So yeah, this is really making me wonder like if I found a class or something that I really enjoyed, would that help me get on the mat or like get to look forward to it, be more
Right.
excited about it?
Have you tried yoga with Adrian's other videos where they're like full practices and not part of the 30 days?
Yeah.
And you don't
No.
jive?
No.
I wonder what it is that you need. Because I find that with Adrian's videos, but I think it's because of the repeated phrases that she says, like, you already did the hardest part. You got to the mat.
Mm,
Good job. And when throughout the practice, there's times where she'll be doing the exact same thing and then like invite me to pay attention to it in a new way. Like find
mm,
something different here, or like was it like this yesterday? What's it like
mm,
today? Don't judge it, just notice. And I need those
mm,
reminders really frequently because especially when it comes to my body, things are different every single day. And I do find it hard to just take notice.
mm,
But with Adrian, because she gives those reminders so often, what I find is there are times, more often than not, honestly, that I find, oh, I remember when this used to be hard, like
mm,
really hard. And it might be challenging right now, but I'm doing it.
mhm.
Or noticing like, oh, it's a little harder today. Oh, wait, it's been easy for a while. I didn't realize that it had been
Yeah,
easy
yeah, yeah.
until right now, where, maybe I have a flare up in my shoulder and it's harder today. So it's like those little things in her practices have been supportive to me. And she hasn't really gone into it in this 30 days as much, but there's other practices that are very energetic based, where it's just like a constant reminder of what does this feel like,
Mm,
or or like a visualization of a thing, and that speaks to how my brain works. So I do tend to get really excited when I'm doing the practices that she does, because I think I haven't found a lot of online teachers that talk to me in a way that my brain immediately is like, yes, I understand exactly what that means,
mhm,
or is accessible for me to try something different. Hmm. But you're also an Aries, so this makes a lot of sense that you're just like, you need what is the word? Novel, I guess. I'll just use the word that
Yeah.
we've been using, the novelty.
Yeah, I
Whereas I don't
think,
mind returning to a thing.
see, so for a while, like going to the studio, and I was there so much. I was there all the time and for a long time. But like nearing that point where the studio was closing down, I was already feeling like I love these classes. I love these instructors. I love this atmosphere. I love the people. I love everything about this. But I was getting tired of the same flow, the same thing. So I knew that like I did need something different. However, I have struggled to find that what I had in that studio that I loved for so long. I've struggled to find that elsewhere in a different flow. So I still find myself doing the core Sunday night mat flow here, even today. It's like it just makes so much sense in my body. And yeah.
Interesting. Because when I think about doing the same flow, there's a comfort for me. It feels regulating.
Yes. I have that. It's like I'm like both hands, like yes to all of that. And I need something to switch up sometimes. Like
Virgo moon, Aries sun. Yeah.
But I resist it. But I resist that change. Right? And there's probably a lot to get into here.
Yeah. I think so. Okay, so when you journal about it later, let me know what you come up with.
When I text you tomorrow morning. Yeah. You'll be the first one.
Oh, what an honor.